Hi, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Violeta Stoica. I'm a level 3 QHHT practitioner based in Prescott, Arizona and San Diego, California. Today, we're going to start a series of interviews of very fascinating people with amazing life stories. I'm passionate about stories, and I am a good storyteller, and I appreciate good stories. So today, I have here with me Alina Popa, who's an amazing woman and a sound healer. I'm very honored to meet her and to have her as my first guest in the series of interviews. I just want to say that Alina is such a presence, and I'm so happy I met her. And that's why I wanted you to meet her too, because she is fascinating with, of course, an interesting life story. Alina, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello, Violeta, and hello, everybody. And it is truly an honor to be here on your series of interviews. Not only that, but to be the first one, it's really an honor. And I'm really happy to be here and be able to contribute to the success of your story.
I'm hoping we will be sharing interesting things and interesting stories that people would enjoy listening to. This is my main goal, to share with the world what we know, what we've learned through our work experience, working with people with healing modalities. And I want to share that with the world through the interesting people I'm lucky enough to meet through my QHHT work. So
Absolutely. It is a wonderful idea. And I know that you have all the experience and all the knowledge to be able to share with the world.
thank you so much. So um, I just want to say two more things about me, and then I'll ask you to introduce yourself. I just realized I missed something very important. I trained with Dolores Cannon herself back in 2010 and 2011, and it was such an honor to meet her in physicality because she's not with us any longer since 10 years ago. And I just wanted to add also that besides my hypnosis work, I created a technique called inner child healing that is very successful. And I'm very fond of it because I created it gathering tools from psychotherapy. I have a license in psychotherapy in Europe, from hypnosis and from shamanic work. And I know you know about my work, but I just wanted to know, to let others know that I have other modalities that I offer too. All right. Alina, you have the mic. Go ahead and introduce.
The pressure's on me. Well, Violeta, these days, I can say that I define myself as a sound healing facilitator. Um, the interest I've had in the energy world, in the spiritual world, in this side of ourselves as human beings has been there with me from a very early age. I remember receiving my first download laying on a field back in Romania when I was like 11 years old. But that's all. I've always been fascinated with what's on the other side. Who are you? Who are we? What are we made of? So, of course, being led by this question and this interest all my life, this is what I am right now. I got over here. I come from a very, I would say, physical background because in the first stages of my life as a teenager and then as a young woman, I have I've been a professional athlete, actually. I have been a bodybuilder. So I have competed to the highest level possible with bodybuilding. And in 2018, which is the year when I retired from competitions, I actually got the world champion title in women's bodybuilding. So, in a way, you could say that I have learned how to learn to build. I have learned to build from the physical matter, right? And now I took it to a spiritual matter. So after retiring from competitive bodybuilding, I guess something was triggered in me. Not having the goal of focusing on something physical, I still the question came back, who am I? What is there for me? So slowly, you know, readings and everything, I got attracted to sound healing. And this is how we actually have also met each other, because I still am a big fan of Dolores Cannon's work, and I was reading her books. And then I realized that the QHHT sessions actually can happen in person, and there are practitioners who continue her method. So this is how I met you. From that website, I saw your name. Well, it so happened that we are both Romanian. So I said, oh, this name is very interesting. And you are actually just moving into Arizona, where I live right now. And it just happened. We met, and we really have a very beautiful story, because as we met and we started talking, we realized that our families are actually from the same tiny little village back in Romania. And not only that, but we are also distant relatives. So that was a pretty amazing outcome of my interest for Dolores.
Huge synchronicity, I would say.
Exactly. Yeah, huge synchronicity. You know, just as I was on my path, reading about different modalities, trying to find my way in this who am I field, you know, trying to discover, get all my answers to this, I came across sound healing one day. I remember I went to a sound bath, and it was really beautiful for me. But what intrigued me the most is the fact that as I was laying there on a mat, all of a sudden I started having flashbacks from some not so nice, if I would say, I think it was actually traumatic happenings from my teenage times. And I started, these memories starting to replay in my mind over and over again, and I could start making connections between things, between the way my life flows now, between the way I think, and so on and so forth. And at the end of the session, I actually started crying, and it was such, I didn't know, but it was such a huge release of that emotions that were stuck in me without knowing, and the sound did that. So going back home and reflecting on just happened, I realized that, oh my God, this sound has amazing power. So then things started lining up in my way. There was a workshop right next to where I live, which I attended, and I was fascinated by the sound, by the way they presented everything. Each and every individual instrument was talking to me. And I just kept on going in this direction. I kept on taking certifications. I started taking people and working with them. And this is where I am today on this path of facilitating sound healing. I truly believe that sound is the medicine of the future. And I am clearly a testimony of how strong and how powerful this method actually is.
Yes, thank you. Beautiful, beautiful. I love your work. And I will say that I was Alina's client a few times. I went to her group workshops, group sound baths, right? This is the bath is the group, and the sound
Mhm.
healing session individual, which I'm thrilled about. Those are my favorites because all the sound is attuned to my body, to my needs, and it's such a great experience. I'll talk about it a bit later, but I just realized that we are having this meeting on March 8th, which is the International Women's Day, and we are women, and Alina is one of the examples of how high women can raise, or what can they achieve even in the masculine professions, so to say, right? The bodybuilders were for a while only men, and I just want to say how much I admire this from you, and you're such a strong physically, mentally, spiritually woman. You're an inspiration to others, and I just want to honor you in that way.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, so what if I want to add to what you just said? What makes you passionate about this sound healing? What is your experience with people? What are the accomplishments? What are the testimonials? And then I'll talk about my experience with you.
I mean, just basically to start a little bit from like my intuitive feelings. You know, we're talking about the QHHT sessions and all the regression therapies. And many times when I do this work, I know that it is not the first time I have done it, because I keep on seeing myself with crystal balls in front of like white column backgrounds. So I know that basically the sound called me to it. You know, it's like I didn't find the sound found me. It's so I do know that there is that connection deep inside myself. I also love, as you were talking about, working one-on-one. So basically, just to quickly lay it out, there are two types of doing sound healing. One is in a bath, in a group setting where you have a lot of people laying on the mats, and then you do all of the sounds for everybody. It's a collective experience. And then you do the one-on-one where the practitioner literally focuses on the body. So what happens is that the instruments, they have their own sound, right? And once you work enough with the instruments, you realize that when an instrument comes across a person's body, it starts attuning to the energy field of the person. And then if there is a blockage or a disturbance in the energy field of that person, the instrument starts changing its voice. So then as a trained practitioner, you start hearing those, like the instrument literally talks back to you. And I love this dialogue, because that's when I open my intuition, and I'm more like an open channel. And then I hear and I realize, okay, this is the area we have to work. So that's why I love doing a group sound bath, but I love doing work one-on-one, because I read the story of the person. So this is one thing that I really love about sound.
Yeah, me too. I'm fascinated with it. And really quickly, my first bath sound that I attended was in Sarasota, Florida in 2017, and we were 111 people in the room. And I never had a sound bath before or a sound healing experience. So I didn't know what to expect. And, this is the best way to go to any method you're trying for the first time with no expectations. And guess what? I had an amazing experience. I went into a meditative state. I didn't even expect that. And I saw thousands of alien ships covering the sky. And it was such a joy, such a beautiful feeling. I didn't even expect that. I thought I'm just going to lay there and listen to the sounds. No, it took me somewhere else. So I had a very deep and profound experience. And from that moment, I looked differently at the sound healing. I was like, this is something very interesting. I don't have the calling to practice it, but I'm a happy participant. And
Mhm.
since I met Alina and she did the individual sessions, the sound healing, I'm in awe with them. And one of the actually my last session with her, I've had a realization that I had a knowing, a download in my mind about the sound. And it was like something like this. The sound is very gentle. It's not invasive. It's a very gentle technique that can help heal people. And it's ancient and it's very appropriate and attuned to the human physical body. It was amazing to have that insight as I was laying down and she was working her instruments. So, yes, very, very fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You are very welcome.
And I want to ask you, Alina, if there is anything you would like to share with us, anything from your hypnosis sessions. Alina has 3 sessions with me, all fascinating, but it's her choice if she wants to share anything.
Of
Like,
course. I mean, that's why we're here to share our knowledge, to share our experiences with the world. Um, when I first met you, which is I think like 2 years ago, I was on this path of finding my true self in this field, finding, like as I was saying, like trying to discover what is this spiritual world about? What is that side of me that I didn't see? I know that I'm more than my body and my mind, trying to figure out what my soul plays, what role my soul plays into this. And then I realized that I was really called to this, and I knew somehow in my heart that I have something to share with the world. Um, And I knew that I wanted to practice a modality in every way that I could, help the people realize, connect with their true essence, and therefore make their life more beautiful, more open, easier. So I was in search of this modality when I came to you. And having those 3 sessions with you, especially the second one, and I'm going to talk about it in a second, that was monumental for me. The second session, what happened is that I went back, I think it was it's like prehistoric times when the humanity was being seeded. So I remember that I was a energy coming from another place, from a group of souls that were helping with the seeding of the humans with intelligence. And I mean, it was very fascinating because I have seen everything in detail, like the way I was helping to seed the intelligence in a human body. But I'm not going to go over that because we can spend the whole hour doing that. But what I have seen, and then the way that it translated to me actually gave me power, in that it told me, yes, you have done this work before, you have helped before, you have been here over and over again, and you have done with spiritual matters in the past. So you waking up to this calling in this time in your life is just supposed to happen. It's something that is lined up. So that gave me the confirmation that I'm not crazy and just want to be a teacher of something. It's told me that I'm here for a reason, and this is the purpose of my soul, to come here and help people, help anybody I can come that can come across my path, with just that, with healing, with knowledge, with clarity, seeding this new frequency, this new energy and vibration into the people that I come across with. So that was a beautiful session. I was like the happiest ever.
It was a fascinating
Yeah,
session. Yeah.
that it's always, whenever we do the QHHT sessions, and especially what I like is the part when it's not just okay, I'm gonna go back and see one of my lives. I mean, Violetta, seriously, you have done so many sessions, and what happens is that, look where we are in this phase of the stage of development. The chances are that 98% of our lives are mundane, traumatic, right, with a lot of garbage that we carry with us. So it's just that's 2 or 3% that are lives that are extraordinary. So what I think is like, it's not just going back and seeing a life where you were a farmer or a woman or a weaver or whatever. It's not about that. But what I love in this method is the fact that you connect with the higher self, and that the higher self can come. It shows you the light, but it also makes the connections between this life and the past lives, and what are you carrying with you from past lives. And then it applies a lot of advice on what your current life situation is. And this was so beautiful. I remember coming home and getting chills from that session with you. And for a week or two, I could feel such a strong connection with, I mean, you would say an angel, but I know that it was my higher self. I could feel as if I was looking at my life from somewhere above, and I could see things in perspective without getting caught in the energy of a moment, right? And I could literally have clarity in what my life is, what this life is about, what the earth is about. So like I could have this big perspective on everything, and I could just go to my higher self and ask, and it was like I could draw any information that I needed. So I think that this is the most important part, when you connect with a higher self, and the higher self can give answers directly to the person doing the hypnosis. This is the beauty of it. You don't have to go to a healer. You don't have to go to an energy, a card reader or anything. You do this session, and then you have access to the most important, the most valuable tool you have, which is your higher self in this life.
That's true. And this is the thing I love mostly about QHHT. It's so empowering. It gives every single person that has a QHHT session the tool they get to keep for the rest of their lives to connect with their higher self. Once they felt it, they understood how it works and what it does, and it's amazing. Yes, so I agree completely with all that you said. And Alina is very gifted in that way, that when she goes under, she sees movies. She's like in that um, time, she lives through that thing. Like with all her senses. It's a whole movie.
But like I want to do a little bit of promo for you too, because you know what I like the most? It's like when I come to have a session with you, I know that half a day is gone because maybe I'll go 2 or 2 hours and a half under, but the 2 or 2 hours and a half before is the way you come and connect with people, right? So it's no, you're not gonna put me on a bed and hypnotize me and get me under. I love the fact that you sit down, you take your time, you listen to get a real idea of what is going on with me. So you do not, I know that you do that not to mix the traumatic parts of the childhood with traumatic lives in the past. So I felt supported. I felt that you listened to me. You're a very great active listener. You give good advice. So creating that frame of work for me to go under was absolutely amazing. And I really love the way you do the sessions.
Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Thank you. I've done this 14 years and my psychotherapy work is a bit longer. So I would say I have good experience with working with people. And I have a background in nursing also. I was a nurse 10 years before that. So that gives me another type of interaction with people also in the healing arts, so to say. So I always was connected to people. I always was fascinated by people. That's why I'm doing this interview series, because I think all people have a fascinating story, something about them that is special, every single person. But I'm fortunate enough to get to know people in a deeper way through the work I'm doing, and I appreciate that very much. And I appreciate you saying all these things and sharing your session with us.
Of course, yes. And then maybe sometimes you're gonna have like something which is called like a disappointing session, which there is no real such thing as a disappointing session. I remember that my first one, I was a soldier in Poland, and I think I saw the year too. It was 14,400 something. Uh, but I remember that the main part, the reason I saw that life was that because I married a woman that she had nobody, and basically I was a soldier. I was not supposed to marry, but that woman moved me because she had nobody to take care of her. So I just married her for that. And I remember you saying you had a good heart from that time. So that was my first session ever, and I was like, well, I guess I have to consider that I actually have a good heart and start doubting myself and thinking, anything bad about myself and just go with the good heart. And then that's the base of the healing work that I'm doing, right? You gotta live with the heart if you are in this in the healing world.
Totally. And speaking of the types of lives people can see in a session, and the disappointing ones, and because many lifetimes they were mundane. Imagine 300 years ago we were all digging potatoes for a living, and then
For
that
sure.
was taking the potatoes to the fair and sell them like once a year. So that was the highlight of the year. But
Mhm.
what I'm saying is that the higher self is so protective of everyone, that the higher self will only show the people what they need, no more than they can handle, but no less than what they need. And every life story is important because it has a clear connection and value for the current life. People will never be shown lives that they don't need to see. For example, we've been everything. Dolores Cannon said, we've been the priest and the layman. We were the victim and the predator. We were the doctor and the patient, the man and the woman, all religion, all races. We've been everything. And, this reminds me of a client who came and said, I hope my higher self will never show me, will not show me a ET life. And I said, rest assured, it will not, because it knows your limitations and your fears, and it respects them. It protects you, wants you to have a beautiful experience. So everything we see in a hypnosis session, mainly QHHT, is something that it's relevant.
Yeah.
If someone was a witch that was burned at stake or beheaded, and that's relevant to the work that person is postponing, we're afraid of doing again because she's got that traumatic death, that means They have to see that. So they will clear it, heal it, and then go on and speak, talk to the world, talk to the people, and talk about spirituality. Many light workers have these traumas in the past. But anyways, you opened this subject for me, and I just wanted to add that.
I know you're very passionate about it.
I am, thank you. So my next question to you is, how did your QHHT sessions influence your career with sound healing? What was the effect of those?
You know, just literally seeing myself as and I'm going to refer back to this second session that I had when I knew that I came to work with energy and be a helper or a healer or something in like of assistance, right, on this planet. That gave me a sort of a reassurance that I have done it, and no, I'm not crazy. This is not the first time I see it. It just gave me that gentle push to keep on doing what I'm doing, which at that time I was just starting doing the sound healing and just going with this fascination and going with the flow and with the energy that I felt. So it really strengthened my belief that okay, this is good, this is not banging instruments, what you feel actually, because as I was saying, I feel a lot of the energy of the people's bodies and their emotions and everything is not just a creation of your mind, is not just an imagination. You really feel this, you're supposed to be in this field, you have done it before, so just keep on going. So it was just a very gentle but firm reassurance that I should continue with this and I should put effort into this and go with it. So I just plunged into it, and I kept on doing, and I'm going to keep on doing it. I'm never going to stop perfecting myself and learning more and more, because I truly believe in the power of sound, and I see it working every day with me, with others, and I know that this is where my heart is. This is what I'm here for.
The beautiful confirmation. And I want to say that many times in the QHHT sessions, people will be shown lives that are relevant for the current one, for them to be able to remember where they are coming from, who they have been in the past, what abilities they had, and they can bring all that in the current life, because that's why they are shown that as a great confirmation. Go ahead, you're on the correct path. You've done this before. You have the abilities, you have the knowledge. As I'm saying this, I get chills all over my body. And it's such an empowering thing. You remember who you were in the past, and it's amazing to know that you've done this before. You remember it. This is what QHHT is. It helps people remember who they were and what their abilities are. And it's the last one I'm going to mention, but it's not the least. It connects you to the mission you have in the current life. And usually when people come to the session is the perfect moment for them. They're mature enough, they're ready to get that information and to apply it to their lives. So this is how you remained with that understanding that this is what I have to do in this life. It's a calling, it's my mission to help others find their own way, find healing, get knowledge, same as QHHT. And the sound, which fascinates me, the sound is actually, even if we don't see it, because it's, the movement of the air, because the sound, but we all listen to music, we know the sound is real, but the sound affects the body at a physical level. You feel the vibration of the sound. When you have a session with Alina, your body will vibrate, and she can feel that. I remember she was working on my third eye chakra, and after that, I don't know where I went, but she was like, you went like that, and she felt it, like she knew what I was going through. It's so fascinating to me. And not to mention I'm getting into technicalities, but I'm very passionate about sound and the power of healing of the sound. The semantics, right? The science
Right.
where
Yes.
on a metal plate, they put sand and then they play an instrument. And that sand will arrange itself into a mandala, into a pattern, almost like a fractal. And it's mind-blowing. And that shows that the sound, when she rings the balls for you, will rearrange the energy and rearrange the energy in your cells, in the chakras, and all the parts she's working on. And really quickly, because I just remember, and I know my higher self is here cheering for me and helping me to say what people need to hear. It was like 30, maybe 35 years ago. I was in Romania, and my husband and I, we went to a church, a Catholic church in Brașov, a very old medieval city. And the church is one of the oldest in the country. It's called Black Church. And we sat down for an organ concert, my first in physical. I mean, I've listened to them on TV, but I've never been in a church with an organ, and they sound amazing in churches. So they started playing the music, and I don't remember anything else. I only remember half an hour later, my husband touching me, telling me it's finished. And I was like, what just happened? The sound has this effect on people. I don't know where I went. The only thing I was left with was something very peaceful, joyful, like a happiness that came over me. And I was in heaven for half an hour. I cannot tell you what happened, but that was my first spiritual encounter with the sound, the effect of the sound on me, on my consciousness, on my body. And of course, I'm a great fan of sound healing, and because of that too. So
Well, it just makes sense, Violetta, when you think that, everything in this world is energy, and everything from the smallest particle till the planetary systems, everything has a vibration, everything vibrates, right? And then at the same time, we also know that we are totally surrounded by sound. So every particle in this universe, actually, when it vibrates, it emits a sound. Everything is sound and vibration. This is why they say that whatever you can imagine, a single particle that exists, it moves, and when it moves, it creates a sound. So at any time in a day, we are surrounded to a vast array of sounds around us, everything. And some are good and some are bad. Of course, not all sounds are good. Like if you hear somebody hammering in the wall next to you, your next door neighbor just banging against the wall for an hour, that is going to affect you, because those are not good sounds. But the sounds of the instruments are considered pure sounds, right? I mean, they have been used due to this property from the beginning of humanity. Like I think the oldest proofs they found was with the Australian Aborigines, with the didgeridoos, right? So the humanity has used these instruments or similar instruments according to their times for their pure vibrations. Because what happens is that, as I was saying, everything is vibration. So sound is basically a waveform, right? Which is created by the vibration of an object. As I was saying, you have an object, it vibrates, creates wave, creates a sound, and the sound travels in a wave, right? And then it reaches your body. Now we know that the sound travels very well through air, but it travels even better through water, and our bodies are made 70% of water, right? So what happens when that vibration, when that sound is going to reach your body, it's going to penetrate. It can penetrate absolutely everything in your body. So if you have a cell, let's say that it's malfunctioning for whatever reasons, right? And I can go a little bit into that and how thoughts and emotions are affected to changing the structure of our cells. When it comes in contact with that cell, right? It makes it shake, as you were talking about, the gentle shaking, and it rearranges the pattern. And the way it rearranges the pattern is similar to what you were saying. So like the cymatics proves that sound changes the structure. So you have a plate, a metal plate. This is what they did in cymatics, right? And then you blast certain sounds on it, right? Basically on this plate, and the plate vibrates. So if I think they put the one that was the most impressive, there is a mantra which is called Sri Yantra, which is considered to be like the most perfect mandala. So when they blasted this mantra on this plate, metal plate that had sand on it, the sand rearranged itself in the structure, the representation of that mantra, the mandala itself, right? So that is interesting because that shows you that the sound can change, can affect the medium it attaches. So when we are just 70% water, the sound comes and it shakes that cell and it rearranges it in a beautiful pattern, in a healthy pattern that's conducive for health, because it brings us in our natural resonance, brings us back to our harmonic balance. We are meant to be healthy. We come with this blueprint of health in us, and our body has a natural tendency to go towards homeostasis, which is a sense of balance. That's why we can heal, because we have this in us, right? So the sound comes and influences and actually triggers and restarts that process of coming back to harmony, coming back to wholeness, coming back to healing, right? This is what sound does. At that cellular level, when it reaches you, whatever you carry or whatever you have on the plate that day, it can help you shake that off, right? Let's say if there is a malfunctioning cell, your shoulder, whatever, your shoulder hurts, right? There is maybe a little tear or something in your shoulder. So of course, it's not going to heal it overnight because we are not that advanced yet with the power of our thoughts to heal our physical issues. But it will encourage each and every cell involved in, let's say, in this muscle in your shoulder to come back to health, to restructure itself, right? So then after you have a sound healing session and the sound has washed over this part that is suffering and is lagging and is behind, the cells will be encouraged to come back to health and harmony. So your recovery will be accelerated. It's not going to fix your shoulder overnight, but because your cell is now programmed to heal instead of staying damaged because you injured it yesterday, now the message, the reprogramming of the cell is for healing. So this is how it's going to help you, right?
Yes.
So this is how healing happens. So whatever you have in your body, when the sound waves come over you, is just this gentle shaking off, this gentle reminder and reprogramming, and each and every cell in your body to come back to health, which is your natural state.
Yes. And I'm just fascinated about how harmonic sounds, the ones that are in harmony, the pure sounds,
Pure
are
sound.
good, but there are sounds or frequencies that are not harmonious or in tune with the human body, and they can hurt.
Of course.
And talking about sound, voice carries a frequency, words carry a frequency. That's why the hypnotic voice is very powerful. I'm helping my clients with it, but also in the everyday conversation with others, with ourselves, we need to be careful on what words we're picking. We're choosing to talk about something because those words carry a frequency, and the frequency can be loving and healing, or can be detrimental or hurtful.
Well,
And
everything. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
so everything we say, because it contains sound, it's said, right? The word, it has an effect on others and on ourselves as well. So I'm fascinated how extensive this sound work is. And also another concept that fascinates me in your work is the resonance. When you have two tuning forks, I've seen this demonstration done, and you hit the first tuning fork and it starts vibrating, and you bring the second tuning fork next to it and it starts vibrating at the same rate by proximity. This is how the sound healing works. So let's say a person is ill, so their vibration is not that great. It's not the healing vibration, and then the healer comes with the balls, and they sing the balls, and this harmonious frequency comes over the body, and the body aligns with the perfect health vibration just by being in proximity and having that sound wash over, right?
Well, that is a capacity of our body, which is called entrainment. So it's taken actually like from physics, like when two oscillating bodies come in contact with each other, they will start they will try to get into the same phase, in the same vibration, right? They will try to oscillate with the same rhythm together at the same time. So this is a capacity that our body has, as I was saying, entrainment. So when you come with a frequency, with a sound, with a wave next to your body will try to follow immediately. So this is how it influences, right? It influences our body. And it's very interesting when you mentioned with the tuning forks, right? Basically, when you hit two tuning forks which are different, and that is another, it is going in a little different direction. But if one has one frequency and the other a different frequency, when you put them next to your ears, right, you have the difference between those. So let's say one is just like 4 hertz and one is 6 hertz. So when you listen to them, you're going to create that 2, which is the difference between is a binaural bit, right? This is how you work with brain waves. As we know, they are like beta, like, which is the active one. You have alpha, you have delta, you have theta, you have gamma. So all these have certain numbers, like their frequency. So let's say if you know that you want to be in alpha, which is pretty much where the instruments will take you, which is a place of relaxation, like a pre-meditative state, then you create this frequency by playing 2 instruments that have a certain frequency and then calculating the difference between the 2. So that's why they always tell you when you listen to binaural bits, right? Put them in your ears, because that's when the difference is created. And that difference between the 2 sounds is the one that is actually going to put your brain into that specific brainwave, that wavelengths that you need to achieve certain things. Like if you, as I was saying, if you want to go in alpha, if you want to go, like theta, gamma, whatever you are, this is how you use the binaural bits. And it is fascinating because like if we were to take the beta, like beta is usually between 13 and I think 24. And beta is not always bad, like, because this is where, let's say, on the lowest range, you are thinking, right? So if you wake up in the morning and you know that you have to come with a solution to something, and then you create this this wave to your brain, this is going to activate your thinking process. So it will help you. Now, if you have to focus on something, then you create that specific frequency, right? And this is going to help you when you go to work and you have like a few hours in front of your computer. That is going to help you focus and do your work, right? And then what you want to avoid from beta is like the highest range, which is, it's usually associated with being anxious, and also excited. But if you stay too long in being extremely anxious or extremely excited, that this is not going to be good for you, right? Because it's going to exhaust you. That's going to stress you. Continuous stress that never stops to your nervous system is not a good thing. We don't want to be there, because that is what's running down our body. So yes, there are so many aspects of the sound. As I was saying, we can use it for relaxation, we can use it for healing, we can use it to aid us in our day-to-day life, to help our brain perform better, to help everything perform better. So it is really fascinating. And I was saying, I really love to just go into every aspect of it and try it and see how it works with my life and how it works with the people that I work with. And it is really revolutionary the way it works.
And I just want to add that in the individual sessions, which I really highly recommend you to try, you can address one issue, physical issue. Pick one and go and have a session with Alina, or a series of sessions, because for an health issue, it's better to have multiple, right? Like 4 or 5 sessions. And
it depends on the goal. Yes.
Yes, the sound is so gentle. And this I wanted to ask you, speaking of that, because I highly recommend this, because I've lived through it and I know how good it is. What is your advice to any person that never had a session, a sound healing session? Mm-hmm. How is it recommended to prepare for such a session? How would you advise them?
Well, I mean, from a physical point of view, they just gotta come ready to relax, right?
So they have to have that intention of relaxing.
Yeah, again, it depends. If it's a group session, then most of the time the intention is just to relax, to detach, to allow your body to come to a, a homeostasis phase if need be. But coming one-on-one, it also can be just that. I mean, depends on what people are going through in their lives. If they are stressed and they just want to have an evening where their mind is clear, they can come with that. I have not, like I've seen so many aspects that the sound can actually help. And in order to fully answer this question, I think I would like to go back and explain a little bit a notion which is probably known to a lot of the people looking at this, the fact that, as you mentioned before, our thoughts and our emotions affect our physicality, right? So as you were telling them, just be careful what you think and especially what you say, because everything has a vibration. Everything is being spoken. So if you think, but you don't have a voice, just because you don't hear it, it doesn't mean that it's not out there. The frequency of your thought is out there and it's spreading around. In the same way, if you think negative thoughts, your body will hear it, like your body will feel it, right? And then from these thoughts, you're creating emotions which might be negative, and they don't go anywhere. They're going to be anchored in your body, right? They're going to be anchored in layers of your biofield, right? We are not just this body. We have multiple layers of energy. So when you are going through a really hard time and you have an emotional hard time in your life, those emotions can get stuck in your body. And then because you do not pay attention to them, right? You're like, you don't see them. Your mind is not trained to think that way. You think they're like, okay, I've been thinking negative thoughts for the past months, but nothing else will happen. I'm just stressed. No, that stress is in your body and your body is feeling it. And then your body is a very, very intelligent mechanism. So your body will say, oh, hey, I have to bring it up to your consciousness so you can see it, so you can remove it for me, because this is hurting me and you're not doing anything. And that's when you start getting disease and sickness and illness, right? And that is your body telling you you're not doing something right with me. So when you see a disease already manifesting, that is something that just didn't come from the aliens or from the next door neighbor. It's something that you are harboring knowingly or unknowingly, right? So remembering that the energy might be stuck in your biofield, in your aura, right? And you come with a pain. I have a pain all the time in my stomach. I cannot digest. So those kind of issues can be dealt with by the sound, right? And then we can come and we can release. So, and as if you remember when I went back and I said about my first session where I had those emotions that were stuck in me since I was a teenager, and the same thing happens with the sound, right? So if you have that emotion in your stomach affecting your digestion, when you come with the sound, it can release that. It releases the tension, it releases that. And sometimes you might not know. I mean, it's not like you're going to be like, you have these problems with your stomach because you're thinking those thoughts or because you're doing these things in your life. It's just the energy is getting released because the sound facilitates removing of those energies, of the trapped energy that's not good for you. So indeed, when a client comes with any kind of ailment, just bring it to the sound and allow the sound to do whatever it needs and come with no expectations. This is a very important thing. Know what you want to do, even if it's just relaxation. You want to relax, it's good. You have a stomach pain, it's good. You have hip problems, it's good. You have throat problems, your mind is not clear, you don't feel connected, anything you want, just bring it and allow the sound to do what it's supposed to do. And as you're going through this, you will observe shifts, right? I mean, some people will observe others who are not so in tune with themselves, with their bodies and with their emotions. And then it happened a lot where people are shut off from themselves and from their life. They will not feel it. But the chances are that when you feel all of a sudden emotional and you started crying because you felt the sound going into your chest, you don't know what's happening, but it is happening. Just you stay open and you know that this is what is it's happening. There is a release of emotions in that moment. And what I like the most is also, the way it works, as I was saying, in a gentle way. You have to connect and kind of like feel what is happening with the sound. And you also have to stay open after. In the same gentle way, what has shifted since I have done this session? And the one that is extremely, extremely valuable for me is the way I think, right? As I'm doing this sound all the time, of course, I absorb a lot of this and it benefits me. I find that I have a spaciousness in the way I think, a spaciousness in my mind. I have more liberty to move. I don't feel trapped. I'm more fluid. I'm more acceptant. And I am capable of taking decisions which lead to better outcomes in my life. So it really opens up this space here, which is not just between like, like in your skull. It is so much more. And it just keeps on freeing and freeing and freeing more space. And it expands my vision, it expands my imagination. And I just feel like I have more horizons open to myself. That is the most beautiful thing that I like. The fact that, we work a lot with our mind. It's actually one of the most important tool that we have, right, as human beings. And the ability to actually use the mind as a tool and not be led by the mind, which is literally promoted by the use of sound healing, is just, it's really invaluable. It's such a beautiful tool and such an empowering tool.
Thank you.
Yes.
You explained it very beautifully. So just to summarize, for me, it's very important because it also with the QHHT sessions, I tell my clients, come open, no expectations, allow it to happen, allow your higher self to do what it needs to do for you, just like the sound.
Yeah.
Allow is huge, is paramount.
Allowing and accepting and just being open for whatever it is. Some people just, they think they fall asleep. They're like, they lay on the table. The next thing I hear, they're snoring.
Perfect,
So
isn't
they're
it?
like, I fell asleep and I missed it all.
Yes, but the conscious mind gets out of the way so
Of
that
course.
it can work easier on the body.
Absolutely. And that's a key point. And thank you for saying that, because this is one thing I always tell my clients. When your mind is not present, trying to always categorize, trying to always label these sounds and what they're doing and analyze, when your mind is not present, this is when the magic happens. The sounds can really go wherever they need and they do their job without you trying to control it. So when they say I slept, I said, no, you didn't sleep. You just went there in an alpha theta zone and you allow the sounds to do what they needed. So you're going to have a great, great outcome. And then I always, of course, check back with my clients. And, in most of the cases, like some of these things are just so amazing. The results and then the way it expands their vision and the way that it improves their position they have on certain aspects of their life is just absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you. All right. What future projects do you have? If you would like to share any of them with us.
Of course. I have so much going on and it's going to be so much more coming.
Exciting. Tell us
I
about it.
I really want to dig deep into expand into the sound healing for the near future. I'm really putting out and creating the right circumstances to receive more and more people, to see them, to help them, to assist them at the same time. Completing myself as a sound healer, right? And this year, my plan is to expand on the healing modalities and healing arts as much as I can. And I think that a good thing is actually hypnotherapy. And no, I'm not doing it your method. I know that you would love for me to do the QHHT.
Love you to come and do it.
Yes, but I'm signed up actually in less than a month. I'm starting hypnotherapy certification here with SWIHA, which is Southwest Institute of Healing Arts in Arizona. It's a beautiful school. And I think that being able to help using the sound in hypnotherapy is also going to be extremely beneficial. So yes, my plan is to bring in more and more complementary arts into this and just expand my tools and expand, all this knowledge. And while I grow myself, I want to share this with others so they can grow too. That's my plan.
Beautiful. And tell us how people can find you. if they want to have a session with you, if they're in Arizona, we're traveling to Sedona and they would like to meet with you because it's just an hour away from Phoenix, how can they find you and come to you and get a session?
Of course, yes, and I think it'll be a great thing. We can put it in the
Yes.
commentaries. The easiest way is you guys can find me on Instagram, and my handle is A Soulful Path, and there's just one L. It is not full of soul; it's soulful, which is full of emotion. So, A Soulful Path, and it's gonna be down here, and you guys can just DM me, drop me a message there, and I'm always checking those, and we can talk about any kind of modalities. We can work together. I would love to. I love meeting people, and I was just telling somebody that I'm just so fascinated, as you mentioned, by how beautiful a human being is, and the complexity and all the nuances, and you never find one or one idea or one thought or one feeling that's the same as the other. And that's what makes me so fascinated by humans, by us.
They're all unique. We are all unique
Yes.
in our way.
It is.
Just like, yeah, we're fractals in motion. And
Oh, I love that. Fractals in motion. Yes.
all right, and because we're getting close towards the end of our meeting today, I would like for you to give a message to the women of our days, because you're such an inspiration. You've done this amazing thing of winning a world championship. You've got up there, you've got the success, and then you chose to come to the spiritual side of life. What advice do you have for women nowadays? Modern women are different than they were 100 years ago, right? We actually overcame our condition as women.
That's true. We have. Yes, we have. Well, if I was to say from my past experience, from the way that I'm wired and from the way I'm looking at life right now, it is all about in life focusing your mind on a goal or multiple goals or a vision that you have, and then just applying your strength and going after it and trusting it with your whole heart up to the point where you become it, no matter what it is, no matter how out there or how what of a niche you are and how different and how unique. You gotta have that energy of trust. You gotta take this object of your desires and make it part of yourself, and then keep on going at it, applying strength, resilience, and all of those characteristics that are beautiful, and they belong to human beings, and we all have them at our fingertips. Trust, believe, and work, and do not stop. And then I think one of the most important things is actually to enjoy, to have fun while you're at it, right? So when you pick up something that makes you feel passionate and that you're happy about, there is no way you're not going to do it with fun and excitement and joy. So allow that energy to be your fuel, right? The excitement, the joy, the happiness, the curiosity. That is like in a sort of alchemical process. That is your fuel that's going to keep on going towards your goal. So it's all about, as the saying is, the process. How do you go through life? How do you go towards that object of your desires? If you go with sufferance, that is not a way to go, because you have to enjoy the way. And the way you enjoy it is just by connecting to the energy of having that object in your life, well, which is already in you because you already envisioned it. So if you can visualize it, you already have it. So just enjoy this partnership between you and your the object of your desires as you go towards it, towards achieving it. This is the most beautiful thing, and I think this is what life is. That's called a life path, right? Just enjoying life.
Yes, yes. Actually, it's interesting you said that. In the majority of my sessions, the higher self will say to people, have more joy in your life, because most people don't enjoy life. They are focused and caught up with their jobs, the family, and everything. And they forget to allow themselves every day a few moments to really enjoy something. Also, the second advice is meditate and spend time in nature. These three things are the most common things I hear in sessions. It's something the modern human lacks.
Well, the nature makes sense because those are some of the purest sounds that you can hear. Since we spoke about sounds, right?
Yes.
That's what sound is like. The vibration of nature is going to come and then just realign you. The sounds of the nature will realign you. That's extremely happy, extremely important. But yeah, I love it. Yes, it's absolutely, we have to take all these aspects into consideration on our life path, and just remember that we are here to experience this life. So it's how we make it, right? What kind of experience are we creating? The moment we understand that we are in power, that we are the ones who create our life, we are the ones who create our goals, we are the ones who choose. There is no such thing as, somebody's imposing something on me. This is who I am and this is who I want to be, and I create my life. And then there is no other way than to live it than with joy. And we gotta take responsibility in creating the life, and we gotta take pleasure in creating our life. And I think that we also gotta take credit for creating our life, right?
Yes, you've touched on so many points. I only want to add as my message to women today, trust that what you feel that really makes you move, that excites you, is your calling. Trust in that and follow it. Look at Alina. She believed in the sound, and she's such an amazing healer now, and she expands so beautifully. Trust your calling. And everyone is different. Some people have the calling, they're born with it. Some people find it later in life. It's okay. Trust in yourself, believe. Do not allow fear to keep you stuck. That's a big one. Women were so fearful back in the days. They were under the domination of the male society, and they couldn't do anything. But nowadays you can have a career. You can put your powers to work.
Well,
So
go ahead.
I want to honor the creativity, the intuition. Never, ever, ever allow anyone to let you mistrust your intuition. That's your divine guidance. And women have a very strong intuition. That's your guidance. Trust it. That's if one prerogative for femininity is intuition to me. Beyond the physical appearance of women, intuition is, and all people have it, but women have a stronger connection with that. So trust your intuition with all your heart. All right.
That is beautiful advice, Violeta. Yes. But I also do find that, especially, like in the countries where we live, it doesn't happen all over the world. But I feel like not only are we claiming, but we are also being given. Like the masculine principle, the society, and everything else is actually giving us our power back. It is true that in some circumstances we still have to fight, but I feel that nowadays it just flows more naturally to us to receive our power. We are getting more and more recognition. The feminine principle is strengthening and it's expanding more and more in our society, and I think it's going to be a dominant force in the future. It's actually starting to balance out, right? In certain circumstances, it's really balancing out the energy balance between masculine and feminine. And I do love how I meet all the time so many empowered women, so many women who trust in themselves, so many women that know that they can and they have everything it takes, right? And I really celebrate the return of the feminine principle. I do.
And I wanna include men in our discussion really quickly because it's been an hour and I wanna wrap it up. Remember, when we are on earth and we incarnate over and over, because this is how the karmic cycles work, the soul doesn't have a gender, but we've incarnated in women's life and as men as well. And I've seen many of my lifetimes when I was a man, and you did too,
Yeah.
right? You were twice, you've seen lives as a man. So we've been men before. Let's not fight with men as the feminine comes up to its power. It, as you said, if we harmonize, we balance the masculine with the feminine, and we work in harmony together. This is the key to happiness. Balance, harmony, right? This is my take.
Absolutely. But like I know that we want to wrap it up, but in these energies we also have the good masculine and the toxic masculinity, just as we have the good feminine and the
Yes.
toxic feminine. So when you take both parts of the world of the both worlds, then of course you're gonna have the result of what you are calling for, right? We're talking about the positive parts of the both principles. So
Yes.
obviously, in that kind of principle, the feminine principle sees the importance and the important role that the masculine plays in harmonizing the relationship. There is no one without the other. So yes, do as Violetta says.
Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Alina, for being such a gracious presence here. I loved all you said. And please go in and book a session with Alina. You'll be in good hands. I'm going to post under the video my website as well, where you can book a QHHT session with me, either in Arizona or San Diego, California. Until next time, everyone, take good care of themselves. And once again, happy Women's Day.
Thank you for having me. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you for being here. Bye, everyone.